ShinRobjira.
Today we're going to be talking about the Mondo Biollante soft vinyl figure, the Godzilla vs. Biollante variant, which is an important distinction because 3 other versions of this figure exists. We have the Energy Spore variant, which is translucent green with metallic highlights on it. Fantastic. We have the Midnight Bloom variant, which is just all metallic paint, and it looks friggin' fantastic. The Midnight Bloom variant was also limited to just 200 copies. And then we have the Cherry Blossom Glow-in-the-Dark variant from San Diego Comic-Con, which was limited to about 400 pieces. And this thing looks amazing, both in just its pink format and its glow-in-the-dark format. Look at that thing. The only major downside to these releases is that yes, they were limited, and yes, they are sold out, and they cost about $125 before shipping. I think altogether I paid $150. So bit of a pretty penny. Now, since this thing isn't a Bandoozle release, we don't have any kind of tag on it, but we do have this very amazing and giant off box over here, covered from head to toe with beautiful, beautiful artwork, amazing little colors, and a giant crease on Biollante's face. Why do you hate me, UPS? Why? But honestly, even with the crease, I mean, this is a beautiful, beautiful box, and as far as I know, all of the variants of this figure have the exact same box. Could be wrong there, and if I am, please let me know. With all that being said, let's just get started because I guess we'll just start off with the roots over here, the ground that Biollante is sprouting from, and even these things are friggin' awesome. We've got browns, we've got greens, but in between all of that, we get a lighter brown, almost reddish orange looking color in here. Really just adds an extra amount of double takeage to it. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ, am I really seeing that? Am I really? What? Not the most impressive thing in the book, sure, but still a welcomed inclusion. Hell, even the very bottom of the base is going to be painted with different shades of brown. We're going to see the Mondo logo right at the very center of the base, and then we'll see trademark Toho Company Limited. Now for the remainder of the figure, I mean, take a pick, man. We've got some darker shades of green for the base of Biollante's body, mixed in with some blacks for good measure, and then we have this lighter green that's going to take over all the vines and dorsal fin looking scales over here. It's just sublime. How dare you? This is just, by definition, an eyeful of a figure, because you really don't know where to look at first. I love how the dorsal fin-looking leaf foliage on top of Biollante was painted. Love that the bottom portions are going to be darker with shading, while the tippy tops are going to be a nice green. And I love how that's pretty much perfectly carried out through the rest of the figure. Honestly, it just looks like a sentient, demonic plate of salad. And while the color palette mostly stays the same on this figure, it's cool to see that different sides vary. I mean, we definitely get a lot more of the dark green and the black on this side of Biollante in comparison to the other side that we were just looking at. But obviously, where color mattered, it absolutely matters. Now, in taking a look at Biollante's vines over here, they're pretty much going to be outfitted with the same amount of paint as the majority of the figure. You'll get the different shades of greens on either side, and on the very tippy tops of the vines. And as far as the mouths go, you'll get standard teeth paint, you'll get paint on the inside of the mouths, including detail. There is a lot of detail on the insides of these things. And it's not just on the floors of their mouths either. You'll get them on the roofs of their mouths as well. At least with the vines that have their mouths opened. And now I can address the little thingy here. Holy crap, look at the size of this thing. It's bigger than my head-ish. Anyway, the promo shot showed that you would get 3 open mouths for the vines. I got 2 closed mouths and 2 open mouths, which is interesting because all of the in-hand photos I've seen thus far have open mouth, closed mouth, and, you know, I got the double-sided one over here. So I guess I can just tack on factory error version into the title of this video. I did get into contact with Mondo, we'll see what happens, but I mean, for the most part, this not being open really doesn't detract from the mastery at work here. Before moving on to the main event, I mean, just look at this. Just look at this. I mean, you know what? Spoiler, but I'm going to turn it to the side like this. Look at all of the paint that's going on here. I can count at least 3 different greens, a little bit of black here and there, and it's present on every side of the vines. All of them. Even on the bottoms of the mouths over here, this is mastery. Now, the teeth aren't perfect. In fact, most of the teeth do have some nicks and inconsistencies here. I really don't think it's much of a problem, though. Honestly, my eyes are barely even drawn to the teeth for the most part. I'm mostly just looking at the rest of them because, again, look at this. This is amazing. And I'm going to keep saying that throughout the entire video, so get ready because there's still more video to go. I think Mondo did a damn beautiful job with this figure. I mean, come on. She's a big green mother from the science lab and she's bad. Now we can finally take a look at Biollante's head and Jesus Christ Manoli. Just take it in. Just take it in. That's all you have to do. Wow. I mean, the beautiful detail that adorns this head sculpt, the amount of paint that is going to be on it. Wow. I really don't even know where to start. I mean, I think the base color of this figure is going to be that dark foresty green that we see a lot of over here, because you can kind of see it in between all the cracks over here, or scales, I should say, while all of that is coated in this beautiful light neonish green, or lime green, I should say. And you've got the pure white eye, which I don't know if that's accurate or not. I mean, really, I don't give a shit. And you've got this milky white eye in contrast to all of the greens, and then you got the teeth over here. Wow. Just big friggin' wow. I love the shading present on Biollante's tusks over here as well. Got a tiny little membranal drippage going on over here, but I'm none too bothered by it. Biollante just got the fire fucking grill, dude. Like, there's no other way to really go about talking about it. A1 on paint, A1 on detail. Now I gotta take a look at the inside of this friggin' thing's mouth. Yep. All the teeth on the inside of Biollante's mouth will be painted, both down here and up here as well. Some a little less than others, but what can you do? We've also got some nice detail at the back of Biollante's throat over here, nothing too crazy. And it is really nice to see that the membranes on the sides of the mouths over here will be nicely painted, with some nice looking detail in there for good measure. Mondo Biollante over here, head to toe, or dorsal fin to root, covered in paint. And just to get a closer look at everything, just wow, dude. Just wow. I have no other words other than wow. I've wanted a Biollante figure that looks this good for a very long time now. And now that I finally have it, I really just couldn't be any happier. Sure, it's not perfect in some areas, but I'm not letting that get me down. Since getting this thing out of the box, I've just been in love with it. I can't stop looking at it. I can't stop messing with it. It's just so peak. And even though I likely won't be keeping up with Mondo and their Godzilla-based figures as they continue on, because this was $125 before shipping, I gotta say, it's nice to see some high-quality collectibles coming out of a company where the figures in general don't ship out looking excruciatingly mid. Who is he talking about? I also just really love Biollante's belly, nucleus, brain, whatever the hell you want to call it. It looks so cool. The paint used really helps it stick out a bunch. And while the detail isn't James Cameron's Avatar levels of, detailed, it certainly does get the point across and looks fantastic on Biollante, even from afar. Just damn. I think I can speak for a decent percentage of the people watching this video that paint and detail obviously are going to get 2 solid stars. A beautifully painted and detailed, stylized vinyl figure of Biollante that isn't tiny. Not in the slightest. How can it possibly get any better? Well, obviously, the vines are articulated. Now, I won't be going super duper ham, but the heads of these tentacles can swivel all the way around. This is present on all of them, clearly. And you can move the vines, probably all the way around. I'm not going to make an attempt at it because I don't want to damage any of the paint on this figure, but they are just going to swivel. Ooh, you hear that? And really, I wasn't expecting even that. I do feel the back vines over here are a little bit more limited just because of their pose and everything. They can't make too much of a full turnaround, but at least, the heads can fully swivel like so. Again, I'm none too bummed by it. Biollante was, in general, just a giant hunk of leaf foliage, green Godzilla, and dead scientist daughter DNA. So for the most part, just articulated vines and the heads of the vines is enough for me. No, there won't be anything at Biollante's head like I originally thought there might have been. Articulation's gonna get a solid star. I'm very much happy with it, and now we can move on over into size comparisons. Size-wise, as I'm sure you could all tell, this gal is massive. An instant shelf hog and an instant eye grabber for anybody passing through your collection. You included. Doubly so if you have any of the variants. Even with the little factory error my copy has, I feel like the money I paid for this thing was 150% worth it. Between the paint, the quality of the paint, the detail, just the final product overall, I can't complain at all. And this comes to me at a very good time because I have been searching down that Defo Real Biollante for a decent enough price. It ain't friggin' happening. And while this thing is definitely a lot bigger than that thing would be, I don't think I'm really missing much at this point. I can't get over how great this looks. I mean, we've seen the quality of Mondo's standard vinyl releases. Now we see the quality of their giant releases, and I'm curious to see who they're going to tackle next. Titanosaurus would be very interesting if you ask me. Zero complaints, couldn't recommend it enough. I mean, I don't know if I can recommend it at all. I haven't checked the aftermarket prices for these, but I imagine they are super unkind. But if Mondo ever do another run of this mold, this sculpt overall, I would say definitely keep your ear to the ground and wait for news. Because for Biollante fans of any age, this thing is a must. Or you can spend nearly $1,000 on X Plus Biollante, I don't know. I'm very much happy with this release, even with, again, the little factory error that my copy has. Maybe it's the only one, who knows? Either way, I absolutely love this thing, and if Mondo ever made another Godzilla figure that instantaneously caught my eye, I don't think I would hesitate like I did with this thing. Which says a lot because it sold out pretty freaking quick. Minor hesitation. Anyway, that's it. I'm done. I don't think anything else is coming in, so now I can confidently say, next Wednesday, top 10 figures of 2022. See you all then. There. Have a lovely weekend. Peace.